Good evening once again. Today is August 3rd, 2022. This is recording number 397, entitled His Treasure. His Treasure. Now, I know upon first hearing, you'll probably think that I mean this is God's treasure. And it is, because it says that we are high priest, the treasured priest of his treasure chest. And also, it means his treasure, meaning the person who believes, his treasure. When, as in the book of Thomas, it says, when the two in the house agree, then shall you see the expression. As of recent, and I even mentioned this to my wife the other day, that I'd never seen so many crippled people walk in the streets. When I was a kid, and these old people walk in the streets, you didn't see them just barely making it and hobbling, and somebody holding them by the arm, and something wrong with everybody. But like I said, my attention has been drawn as of late to just look at how everybody's all bent over and crippled and just can barely make it. And the thought came to me, God, you could not have meant this. There's no way in the world that you could have meant this for the way your people enter the kingdom of heaven. And yet it's preached and taught that though our outer man perish, and you automatically get the thought that, well, we all got to go some kind of way, right? And then all of a sudden you'll come up with the question, well, why is that bank robber? Why is that drug seller? Why is that abuser? Why are they walking around in good health and walking around, and you got all these people that's going to church and trying to love the Lord, and they're walking around all bent over and beat down and just constantly in turmoil. And that's what I want to put before you today, not for you to answer, but for you to consider that there has to be an answer. There has to be an answer. If God is omnipotent, that means the only power of God is the only power present. And if I can't come to that understanding, then I truly don't believe it. I want to. I'm intellectually agreeing, but as I just was discussing with some of the people here, Black Panther, Superman, Wanda, Vision, Batman, Spider-Man, you name them. They just enter into any situation, and fear is not an option. Iron Man, they never look up. Ant-Man, they never look up and say, oh, I need to consider that I could be taken out by this. And the thought or the belief that I want to put before you is, a man's belief will be found in the root of his belief. Now you say, Rev, you just kind of lecture and tell us this and tell us that, but it's all based on Scripture. Remember Jesus said, my Father is the root or the husbandman, and I am the vine. You are the branches. So that right there is telling you that Jesus is telling us that if we believe in the root has connected to the vine who believed and created a body of work that expresses out to the branch. And you'll say, yeah, but I'm not connected. Yes, you are. You're connected whether you perceive it or not. You're connected to that vine if God is the only presence. So the work that we must undertake is coming to the treasure of knowledge. Oh, if God being the only knowledge, then there can be no knowledge beyond God, above God. There cannot even be any knowledge that contends with God. Nothing, shut off. Like when the door closes, it shuts, and it shuts completely, and nothing can enter. So therefore, if God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, then our struggle, if you will, is to come to the understanding where we find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and the pot of gold is God. God in all his splendor. Now, the fact that we wage contention with human beings, that should be, when I worked at U.S. Steel, they used to say, when you're in a situation and something's getting ready to go wrong or a concern is coming for your safety and whatnot, they said a yellow flag should fly up in your consciousness. And when that yellow flag flies up, that should be a warning that you're headed into unsafe territory. But what we refuse to do, we refuse to accept the fact that these people out here are not unsafe territory. We will drop omnipresence, we will drop omnipotence, and we will drop omniscience to put that person in their place. At some point in time, that flag should fly up and go, whoa, 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 where are you going? And what do? Politely say, just chill. I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute, but I'm going to take care of this. A man's treasure will be found in the root of his belief. Why does he refuse to stop and take the inconvenient feeling that's coming now that something is taking advantage of him? Why won't he stop right there and say, I'm willing to go through that? Because I know this person in front of me is not my enemy. For we wrestle not with flesh and blood. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. That should be the coin, C-O-I-N, of treasure, right? The coin of value in our treasure chest. The moment any type of contention begins to arise, bubble within us, who's the first one that notices it? Something on the inside of you goes, this is not going the way I really want it to go. That right there is the yellow flag. Why? Because that is the root of your belief. It's telling you, I can't go for that. And it's up to us to subdue whatever is coming in our imagination to tell us that that's a bad situation. If God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. For out of the root of our belief, our mouth will speak, and the following actions will coincide with what we're speaking. A house divided cannot stand and cannot benefit itself. So those people that you happen to know that speak one thing out of their mouth and do just the opposite, what is it that you should determine immediately about that person? Their house is divided, right? And it's not up to you. It's not up to you to hope or wish that they get punished, right? If I'm not making sense, please let me. It's not up to me to say, okay, God, get them. You see what they're doing? Go ahead, God, lap them up. It's not up to us to do that, because the law of omnipotence, the law of omnipresence, the law of omniscience has already decreed what? A house divided against itself. Yeah, but you don't see. He's driving a Bentley. You know, the strangest thing about that is, y'all know what a Bentley looks like, right? My nephew's in the cars, and I'm just going to chase this rabbit for a little bit. He said, Uncle Bob, he said, I could tell you right now where you could get a Bentley that's 2 to 3 years old for about $25,000. And I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, you know how much they cost straight out, right? $75,000, $100,000 or something like that. I said, yeah. He said, you know why they cost $25,000 2 or 3 years after they hit the street? And I said, why? He said, because they're a bunch of crap. Poorly engineered, poorly put together. But where is the person's imagination that's driving a Bentley? He's all that. I'm chill. He said, but it might take you another $15,000 to get it back up to that status after you buy one. He said, so Uncle Baca, if you're listening to me, don't even look at them. Just watch them and look how nice they are as the person drives by and he's leaning and he's got all this and he got his bling bling. Just watch him go on by and let him go on. And go on down here and buy this, buy that, buy that. This thing will last you 10 years or whatever. You know. But my point is, most people, we walk around with this vengeful nature and we say we're trying to live for God. What is that? There goes the flag. That's a house divided, isn't it? Because the Lord said, a house divided against itself has already been condemned. Yeah, but they got money. A house divided against itself has already been condemned. Yeah, but they can do this and they can do that. A house divided against itself. What is God saying? God is saying you're paying attention to something that's expressing itself opposite of what I told you. I told you to don't pay any attention to that house, didn't I? And you're saying, yeah, but. And every time you say, yeah, but, you're telling God he's not omnipotent, he's not omnipresent, he's not omniscient. The statement of a house divided cannot stand or benefit itself. This statement declares that mankind is unified in their individual beliefs, whether they be positive, negative, or neutral. One need only to observe by listening and or watching to see this declaration bear itself out. We see people out there that's struggling, and I mean actually struggling because they're not trying to live for good. They are a house that's divided, and we see them struggling from one 24-hour period to another. And what do we say? Good. Good. Jesus said, pray for your enemy, right? Now get this now. Pray for your enemy. Pray for him who despitefully uses you. Pray for him who bears false witness against you. Do good to them that do evil. Do not return evil, or what we call just measure, recompense. Do not return that to those that have done this to you. And then Paul comes down and says, for we wrestle not. We'll talk about that this coming Sunday. For we wrestle not with flesh and blood. So why do we have such a major problem with flesh and blood when Paul says that's not even a part of our equation? So then, who am I wrestling with? What am I wrestling with? Principalities and powers and authorities in spiritual domain and higher places, right? So now we're being eluded in teaching to think that God got all these ugly realms out there, and we're fighting with them. But you don't know how to find them. I don't know where this one is. I don't know where this one is set up. I don't know if he's behind me, in front of me. I don't know if he's tomorrow. I don't know if it's next week. I don't know. And he says, but the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not of human nature. We do not fight with, go get them, God. So who then, or what are we wrestling with? Bullseye. Spotlight. And it ain't on James Brown, okay? Spotlight's on me, isn't it? I'm wrestling with me. And what is my fight? What is my spiritual warfare? To get the conviction that my treasure chest has only valuable coins in it, and there's only one coin in there, the pearl of great price. And what is that? God. So I'm wrestling with me, and I'm constantly trying my best to pull myself to the place, or let myself be carried to the place, because I can't pull myself, except by the amount of time and the quality of time I present to realizing that God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient. What in the world would life be like for you if you actually believed that those three natures of God were true? Now we allow our imagination to get into full swing. But it's not my imagination. Because as Eddie Kendricks of the Temptations said, it was just my imagination running away with me. For in reality, the girl don't even know me. Ain't your imagination when you go to God. You can start out imagining being free in God, being totally covered in God, but at some point in time, it's revealed as what? Reality. Reality. And anything that wants to hold me back in this world of experiences, I have to let it go. I have to climb up on realize I can't climb back on the cross, because that act was performed one time. And when Jesus climbed on that cross, he carried every one of our concerns with him. And they were crucified. But Rev, you telling me that I need to think about that. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because you can't crawl back up on that cross, because he did it. And you can't go in the tomb and get resurrected after 3 days, because he did that too. So what's left for me? Except the fact that it was done. Except the fact that in my treasure chest is a root, God. And from that pearl of great price came a vine. And that vine was Jesus Christ, and it spread throughout existence over the 7+ billion people that are on the planet, and it declared me righteous. I cannot accept what these preachers, these teachers, these, well-meaning people, I cannot accept the fact that I'm trying to become something when Jesus said, I've created a body of work. And if you eat it, you will be where I am. And everybody's automatically starts imagining this great old big city, right? He says, no, you'll be in that body of work where you will fear no evil. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not be afraid. Why? Because I'm living from the root of belief. And the root is what's carrying me. I cannot throw myself out into great, well, I just declare I'm Superman. No. He had no control over being created Superman. You get that? Spider-Man had no control over becoming Spider-Man. Black Panther had no control over the powers that came into him. When he was yet the son of the king, he was the son of the king. But that anybody that's ever watched the Black Panther, he went into that, they had to cover him up in that bed, cover him up, and it looked like they were killing him. And the superpowers of being the king entered him. And when he came out, he was impervious to danger. You see, any man that walks in Christ is a new creation. He is a new creation. All things are new. Old things are passed away. So how dare he think he knows because he walks and speaks? Yeah, he can speak the truth, but these powers, as we call them, must express themselves. The core belief will always come to the surface. For to act in opposition to one's belief is to divide the house or the position, thereby guaranteeing failure of some sort. Do I need to repeat that? The core belief, your treasured belief, whether you say you believe it or not, whatsoever you believe, it will always come to the surface, and for it to act in opposition to your belief is to divide the house. So if I believe that I am a human being endowed with certain inalienable rights and I can do this, you ever been in, I was always the little third, fourth person in that little group that was scared. When danger came up, some people ran toward it. Where to fight at? And I was always back in the back. Now, you didn't want to tell your friends you were scared, but you knew you were. That's just who you were. And what did you say? Come on, man. We ain't got to do this. No, man, I'm sick and tired of these. And you have all of the belief. If you're running with bad dudes, hello? If you're running with bad dudes and you're not bad, is that not a house divided? Where is the weakest link? Where is the strength, the weakest part of a chain? In the weakest link. So therefore, I pretty much had to run by myself because I knew I could get out of situations if I want. But so-and-so over there, Mr. Mouth, he just keep it going till you was in a fight. You might win the fight, win the battle, but you the one coming away with a broken knuckles and loose teeth and swollen eyes, and But the bottom line is, my point is, when you live and act in opposition to what you believe, your house is divided. What a person holds in belief is his treasure. That person's actions will make self-evident their treasured beliefs. This is in no way stating that this treasure is something to be valued by all, but simply that this belief will be operated upon whenever needed. If you're scared, you're going to be scared. You might fight like heck to get through, but you be fighting out of fear. Your buddy over there is not afraid of anything. He think he can beat up the world, and he knock one down and turn around and look for another one. He'll fight 2 or 3 of them at a time. What is his core belief? I don't go down unless I go down. I go down fighting. And you better get me while I'm down, because if I get back up, I'm going to fight some more, right? So that's what I'm saying. what you hold in belief. Now, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying underneath what I'm saying. What you hold in belief is where your powers lie. If you hold them as a human being, then that's the limit of your power, the limitation or the extent of a human strength. If you hold your belief in God, he tells you what? Put down your weapon. There's no need to fight. You need not defend yourself because I am with you. Now, we don't have much insight into the conversations that Jesus had with his disciples, but it is fair to reason that Judas's treasure was divided, never settled on the fact that Jesus was the Christ. Now, how often had he witnessed or heard this? 3 strong years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And yet after 3 years, he was still the rebellious zealot that he started out with, thinking that the weapons of his warfare were carnal. 3 years later, Peter comes to the opposite conclusion. Thou art the Christ. Look how the treasure chest has been changed. A belief not settled will always betray the carrier. Can you see all the people now walking around? Like I said, and I got ailments myself. I'm just going to be upfront and honest. But the bottom line is what? I realized where the struggle is. The struggle is not God, do this. God, fix this. God, no. The struggle is, Father, let me hear your voice. Let me feel your presence. Father, let it be known to my treasure chest that you are the only value there. Father, let it be known that there are no lives coming into this world and being snatched out. How can you be God if that's what you letting happen? How can this be if you let us get attached in love with one another, and then when we least expect it, we get that phone call or that telegram or that whatever, or the man standing at the door? That doesn't make sense. With long life will I satisfy you. You see, a belief not settled will always betray the carrier. How can I say I love God? Y'all know you know that one, right? How can I say I love God I have never seen? But, man, I just can't get into you. You need to be taken out back. You done told people that before? I know I have. I wish I could take it back. But the bottom line is, Jesus Christ told people that he knew were trying to take him out. He says, present that which is worthy of the Father, and the Father and I will receive you. Oh, let's not forget what he said hanging on the cross. What did he say? Where was his treasure? Father, forgive them. What was his treasure? For I realize that you are omnipotent, you are omnipresent, and you are omniscient. You are the only value of my chest, my treasure chest. And did his belief betray him? No, because after 3 days, he arose and went about his way. The scriptures inform us that we are the treasure, that we are to treasure the word of God above all else. Boy, that'd be great, wouldn't it? In times of testing and trials, this treasure will stand in value and refute all that opposes it. Boy, if I could believe that. What do we say? God, show me, and then I'll believe. Right? In times of testing and trials, this treasure, Now we need to stop and look at that word treasure. You know, if I got some money in the bank, it's treasured, isn't it? If I got a plot of land, it's treasured, isn't it? If I got a vehicle that I really like, it's treasured. See what I'm saying? In times of testing and trials, that which you treasure intimately spiritually will stand in value and refute all that opposes it. Is that not omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence? I will trust in the Lord at all times. I will not be afraid of the danger that confronts me. Anybody that ever watches Big Bang Theory? Sheldon do that little. Why? Because something is always coming to refute or to contaminate or to limit or to what? And God don't love you. Where you at? What's wrong with him? Look at this world. Look. And as we understand, where is God? God is where God is recognized. Try that one in your church body and see what happens. Go tell them people to sit and just praying 24/7, and go look at them and say, God is where God is recognized. They might have to come and call Gregory and come get you right there. This is not an intellectual valuation, but a valuation that we are convinced or convicted of. And I'm just going to say this right quickly and move on. Special forces. Do you think they're convicted when they go into operations undercover? We tend to think of a war breaking out with you send a legion of people or a battalion or whatever in the war, and the special forces will be what? 5 or 6 guys? Taking down governments? You see, that's the conviction. And then will give their life, if one of them falls, will give their life to go back and get that body. Wow. As stated last week, the value of the word must be revealed from the Father on high. Boom. How much time are you concentrating on hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and smelling the Father's presence? Because the only conviction can come when the Father speaks to your heart. There shall no trouble befall that revealed truth will not destroy. Revealed truth. Not truth read in a book. Not truth spoken from the pulpit. Broadcast across the radio or TV. In the newspaper. In articles. Not that truth. Revealed truth. Something from the inside that lets you know, fear not, I am with you. You may even look about to see where the voice came from. Who said that? Well, but the bottom line is, you heard it, and when you heard it, you smelled it, your sense of smell felt good, you tasted it, it touched you, you touched it, right? Hear, smell, taste, touch, and felt. There is no trouble that can befall you if revealed truth. Hello. Now we see we do not go into prayer and meditation to get something taken off of us. We go to hear. We go to feel. We go to taste. We go to touch. What is it? Hearing, smell, taste, touch, and see. See. Wow. Inner vision. The way of the Lord is past finding out by man. but he maketh it clear to those who seek him. Come, we are invited, eat freely, buy that desired without money. Come and buy without money. That makes no sense, does it? How is this? It can only mean this one thing. The thing already belongs to you, and we are selling off that which has no value. It's like the indication that I gave a week or so ago about putting finding a bucket of mud and taking a water hose and putting it down in there and turning it on, and just turn it on and leave it on. It may not all come out in the next 5 minutes, but if you let that water run and run and run, at some point in time there will be nothing left in that bucket but clear water. And that's why we go to God, to be cleansed. We go there for one purpose: omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. That's it, nothing else. There's no need to ask for anything else other than the representation of in our heart, the concrete ceiling within our heart, the vault closed, combination thrown away, because no man can now get in there to steal, and we watch over it so sacredly that we would give our life to protect it. The Father is the root, the treasure of treasures. Jesus is the vine, the path from which the treasure flows to creation. We are the branches that upon which the treasure confirms his presence. Hello? That new car that you just got, the presence is confirming itself as transportation. Okay? The food you just put in the refrigerator and in the pantry, the presence is confirming itself as that. Clothing, housing, finances. Not, let me tell you what the Lord gave me. $1.8 billion. Yeah. Did you go back and ask him what you're supposed to do with it? Well, I done paid my tithes, and I helped my family out, and I gave to, what more you want me to do? Why you see what I'm saying? We get defensive. Our kingdom is not of this world. Our kingdom rests in 3 words: omnipresent, omnipotence, and omniscience. And we allow the root to express his presence with us. Foundation of life is the Father. If you can't get to that, you'll never have anything. The foundation, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He is established with nothing to hinder. He freely gives to all that treasure the relationship as all that is necessary. Now you can see why you will be looked upon as being odd when people actually conceive that you're trusting in God and God alone. That's why your conversations get cut short. That's why you curtail your conversation. That's why you are not free to just start talking to the unconditioned consciousness, because they're going to give you that deer in the headlight, and all of a sudden they're going to start talking to all their friends, saying what? Man, better be careful when you're talking to someone. I don't know what that stuff is they talking. From this relationship flows every good and perfect gift, for truly it is the Father's coming into expression through his most treasured gift, love. I know you thought I was going to say man, didn't you? All that we are to allow happen is the Father to express himself through his love to his creation. The treasure then is the relationship of the ever-abiding inner presence of the Most High God. In other words, God is living in the earth as that which we represent, and it is up to us to be the little child that may have a million questions, but we hold our tongue to see what the Father would do, how he would lead. Well, we think it's us, but he's really not leading anything. The Father is being, that we might be, right, the man who has his being in Christ. Who then can complain or condemn the living God? He would have to be a house divided against itself. He would have to be. So when people come to criticize your faith, what should you do? Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. And don't try to show them through the scriptures. For when they want to know through the scriptures, they will come and then they will listen. And they will have questions and more questions and more questions. And it's not up to you to answer their questions. It's up to you to tell them to do what? Go sit before the presence and have the Father speak to their hearts. What then shall we say when it has been realized? If God be within me, who or what can be against me? If I can't get to that conviction, I got a little ways yet to go, don't I? Whenever anything comes up, I must realize God stands alone. And yet God is not alone. For God is the only presence that exists. So then, how can God confront himself when he is always correct? This is the conviction. That's why Jesus said, I have nothing to speak of myself. I have nothing to speak on my own. For it's the Father that's doing the speaking. It's the Father that's doing the doing. I'm just here for the ride. If he asks me to speak, then I say what he tells me to speak. I don't come up with an opinion. I leave people alone that the Father may penetrate their heart and make himself known to them. Come into the holy place and find treasure or find rest. Come and acquire that which cannot be taken away. For a man's treasure shall be the words that he holds dear. Don't tell people you love them if you don't. Okay? Please, don't do that. And whatever you do, don't tell them, I love you because I have to. Don't do that. If you can't love them and say, then don't say it, okay? Don't say it. Trust me, don't say it. That's a house divided. I love you because I have to. That's a house divided. That's a house divided. For a man's treasure shall be the words that he holds dear. If it be the word of God, then how great a treasure has he found? You may not fully embrace that person in love as you would want to, but if you can tell that you're on the highway, that you're trying, then you can tell them, I love you. The Father will add. But whatever you do, please don't let the scriptures force you to do things that you otherwise would not want to do, because that's a house divided. As we clear up now, God declaring himself as mankind. The law of God is irrefutable. The word reconciling itself unto itself. Oh, you say, well, how does God have to reconcile himself unto himself? Because that which we call ourselves, we have usurped the authority and seated ourselves on the throne. And when we go to God, what we're doing is we are going to the place that allows that truth to come to the throne, and we voluntarily get up and get out of the way and allow truth to seat itself on the throne. God reconciling himself, the old man, that he should make of twain one true man, the first Adam, cast out or put aside, the second Adam being the Lord Jesus Christ from heaven, both in the same body, that there should be one who sits on the throne. Man shall look and look and look outwardly, and never will he find that treasure that satisfies. You need to think about that, because your carnal mind will always look out there and find somebody that appears to be doing very well, and then you'll start to bringing about the treasure that's in the carnal mind's treasure chest, which is enmity against God. But should he focus his search within, he shall find a treasure within. He shall find a treasure so great that he will gladly give up all to dwell therein. Truly, truly, he shall have found his God. He shall have found his treasure. God bless.